decided to try something different with these videos. I'm standing in one of the local parks under a tree in my neighborhood. But this video has to do with whether or not 2022 is a good time to become a pilot. I will discuss the training costs and whether or not it is economically feasible for someone to become a pilot in 2022. This video was inspired by an article I saw while surfing YouTube about 3 weeks ago. It highlighted one particular airline efforts to combat the pilot shortage. The way the program works is you who have no flight experience, no flight training at all, will pay this flight training academy who has partnered up with this airline $90,000. In exchange, they will take you from having zero flight experience all the way to a flight instructor within a certain period of time, maybe within 6 months or so. Once you have finished with your flight training, they will then send you to fly with a small airline called Cape Air. This company flies multi-engine piston planes, mainly between New York and New England. While there, you are expected to complete your 1,500 hours, which is the requirement necessary to fly for an airline or to fly for a 135 private charter. The thing with this program is it doesn't specifically tell you how long it will take. From my experience, it will take the average person, and this is assuming someone picks up the material really quick, between 2 years to 2.5 years from the time you begin training to when you can fly for a regional carrier. For instance, let's say it takes you 6 months to get from not knowing anything about what it means to be a pilot to becoming a flight instructor. At the end of it, the most you may have is 250 to 300 hours. Let's also assume you decide to become an instructor at that same facility where you will instruct incoming students. You then stay there for, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so. In that time, the most flight time you may acquire is anywhere between 300 and 500 hours. Obviously, this depends on the frequency of your flights and how many students you have. After you have finished that, it's been a year now, they then send you off to this small company in New York called Cape Air, where at most their longest flight, I believe, is an hour long. The FAA mandates how much flight time we can do in a day, in a quarter, and within a year. Therefore, it is impossible for you to get the additional hours needed to become a airline pilot within 12 months while working at Cape Air. It is just not possible. You would have to fly 7 days a week and on average between 5 and 6 hours a day. That is a lot of flying. No one wants to endure the physical and mental stress of flying so many hours in one day. At that point, there is an obvious question of safety. The economics of this arrangement is just brutal. The cost of the program is $90,000. Assuming you took out a loan for that amount with a 10-year repayment plan and a 7% current interest rate, you would have to repay the bank a little over $125,000. That is a lot of money, and this is just for the flight training. The unspoken but well acknowledged rule about aviation is you need to have a 4-year degree. That will most certainly cost you around $150 to $175,000 depending on the type of degree you get. You are now in debt to the amount of $250,000. And you're probably thinking, why does this matter? I'm going to get a job anyway. There is a pilot shortage, so it's all going to work out. Except that from the time you start training and from the time you are eligible to fly for a regional carrier, it will be about 2.5 to 3 years, as I've previously stated. When you consider the pending recession, it is not a good time to get yourself in such heavy debt. This is vital because flying is a luxury item. When people are forced to choose between paying rent, mortgage, food, and transportation, they will always choose those over flying. The airline, in an effort to protect themselves, will cut back on the amount of flying they're willing to do because less people are flying. Naturally, if less people are flying, they don't need that many pilots. You will now find yourself including the cost of a 4-year degree with a $250,000 to a $260,000 loan that you cannot repay because the industry you got into is not hiring as you were led to believe. Here is the thing. In aviation, it takes a long time to mature to the point to where you can become a pilot that is hireable. It's usually about 3 years, and that is assuming you learn the material really well and there is no pending economic disaster as there is now. The other thing you need to be aware of is whenever there is an explosion in popularity of an event, it's probably not the right time to do it because there will be an equally downside to it that will be harsh. A good example is cryptocurrencies. During the pandemic, everyone was all about crypto. I need to get into crypto. Let's get into crypto. Great. It flourished. Everyone did great. They were overnight millionaires. That has since changed. Crypto has crashed. And some of those millionaires who were fortunate enough to manage their money properly are still doing fine. However, those who didn't have since returned to their normal financial position, which is worrying about money, being concerned about being able to pay the rent, the mortgage, food, and of course now transportation, given the ridiculous gas prices throughout the country. My point is, don't fall for this trap. Do not become involved in your pilot training in 2022. The best time you should have done it was 3 years ago. Of course, there was a pandemic, so that was impossible. The next time I would recommend someone trained to become a pilot is 2025. By then, we would have a greater understanding of what the economic position is and what the overall position of the airlines will be. Then you will be able to take on such a debt. Until that time, you probably shouldn't do it. All right. That's it for this one. As always, I hope this video is going to be helpful and informative. I have one ask. The Google algorithm have told me that most of you who watch these videos are not subscribers. I am asking you to subscribe, hit that notification button and hit that like button so the Google algorithms will make these videos available to more people. As always, if you have any questions or comment, leave it in the link below. and I will respond to them promptly, personally. That's it for this one, guys. Until next time, be good.